Our second experience and shared experience of the story of where social farming is at is from Northern Ireland, and Noreen McComiskey is going to talk to us about it. Noreen is a qualified social worker with over 40 years experience. She's been an advocate for social farming since the cross-border pilot project and commissioned it in the Southern Health and Social Care Trust a number of years ago, and Noreen holds operational responsibility for 5 farms contracted by the Southern Trust. So, Noreen.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think it is afternoon by now. Thank you very much for the invitation to come from Northern Ireland, despite Brexit. We have a representation. So I'd just like to, as mentioned, I am a social worker, but I was born and raised on a farm in Northern Ireland, and I fully know the benefits of that life that I grew up on. Having pets as your friend, your confidant as a child, as a teenager, where they shared your problems and give you the support. I also am very committed to the idea of how we can provide opportunity and new ways of doing for adults with a disability, and in particular learning disability. A few years ago, we were looking about developing services, because there were traditional services in Northern Ireland, which was very much daycare, day opportunities was being muted as the way forward. But we need to look at Northern Ireland as a whole. Currently, there is a population of about 2 million in Northern Ireland, if the new census is right. I work in the Southern Health and Social Care Trust area, which is on the border with Southern Ireland. And the social care farming model works because a lot of the issues, a lot of the problems that is in rural Ireland is very much in our area. And while there are a few towns, a lot of people live in a rural area. They have difficulties with transport. We do not have a lot of transport to get from A to B to C. So that continues to be a problem. Our day centres are actually bursting at the seams. They have been targeted to adults with complex needs, but a building only holds so many people. Day opportunities was something that the then board decided was a way forward. It's not regulated. Daycare is regulated, so it gives us an opportunity. I believe everybody needs champion, and we were very fortunate at that time. We had the board, and I see Yola Elian here. He was our champion at the board to look at new ways of working and try and develop services that were different. He walked the walk with us. He came, he visited what we were doing in day opportunities, fought the traditional model that we couldn't change, and social care farming was one of the things that he embraced. And not only did he embrace it, but he actually attributed funding to it. And funding is key for anything, but you need champions and you need the money. Now, Yola has sort of crossed the border and gone to Galway, so we have lost a champion. But the one thing that we did have was money. So we moved from the traditional model of daycare. We still have that, but we also have developed day opportunities. And one of the areas has been the partnership with social care farming. We got involved with the pilot, and we now have moved to having 5 farms. They are diverse. They are across the trust area. And the farmers, we have one farmer who is a qualified OT herself and is trained in sensory integration. So she brings one aspect of work. We have another farmer whose real passion is mental health and has developed her farm to do different areas of mindfulness and relaxation, as well as the farming. We have another farm that embraces the mindfulness as well and has planted a forest and uses the whole commune with nature as being as important as the actual farming and the horticulture end. So it's very important. The farms are diverse. What we have done then has contracted those farms because we need sustainability. The trust in developing and delivering services to adults with a disability, the one thing people need is they need certainty. So we have contracted the farms, and you might ask, why would you contract something that is a community initiative? Well, the purpose of the contract is to establish a relationship between the provider and the Southern Trust that will facilitate the delivery of a social care farm and service for adults with a disability and mental health. So when that's contracted, we know that it's in place, the farmer knows it's in place, and there is the agreed formula for it. This was a sample contract. It had to be developed. We didn't have one to go on. We had to work with SOFAR, we had to work with the farmers, we had to work with our own contracts department and develop the contract. So the purpose of the contract is sustainability of the service, that we know who we have and what they do. Currently, the contract is for 48 weeks per year, and the farmers commit to that. Some take holidays at a different period, but they do deliver. That spells out the purchase. It says very clearly what we're going to pay and what the farmers expected to do. The clients that we have moved towards social care farming have all of our open cases to the Southern Trust area. Currently we have 1,800 adults with a learning disability known in the Southern Trust area. So as you can imagine, with 5 farms, a population that have the opportunity to go to social care farming is still quite small. Day opportunities in the Southern Trust area, we expect the people to find their own transport and fund their own transport to the farm, to bring their own lunch and their own clothing, to provide their own clothing. What the Trust is funding is the farming activity, and we do recognise that it is not the full overall cost of it, but we are paying towards an agreement with the farmer, and every farmer is paid the same, so that they will provide the service on the 1 day a week or 2 day a week. The length of the contract, our contracts are 3 years, and with the option to roll over to a maximum of 5 years. But the contracts are 3 years in length, so the farmer knows there is a contract for 3 years. The referral, who may be the social worker or the OT on the team, know that that contract isn't going to disappear in a couple of weeks, and they know that there's certainty if they make a referral to the person. We do make sure that with the person's agreement, that we will share the information that is relevant to the farmer. So we want the farmer to know what the strengths and the weaknesses of the person are. If there are any risks, those need to be clearly identified. The person is at the centre of everything, and we make sure they're at the centre of everything. But the farmer is taking the person onto their land, into their environment, and they also need to know who the risks are, because we want the person to have the full opportunity, and if they're going to get meal from a shop or hay from somewhere else or whatever, you want the person to have the full experience. So it's important that they know what the risks are, that they know if the person has any disability. If it is, say, epilepsy, for example, we would make sure that the epilepsy nurse specialist would have the epilepsy care plan, and that's shared with the farmers. We would also try to make sure that the farmers have training in the different areas of disability on communication, etc., so that they feel confident in dealing with the people. And we will provide that as well. The liability, it's important that in anything we are in a conscious litigation society, so it's important that the farmer knows what their insurance should cover and also what the trust takes responsibility for. And we're very, very fortunate Aoibhinn Walsh is here, and Aoibhinn has worked tirelessly with the farmers to help the farmers understand what is their responsibility and what's the trust's responsibility. The variation is there for the contract because we want to be able to sort of work with people if they're able to up days and we can find the money, or if they need to reduce the contract at some point, we need to be able to have that variation built in. Confidentiality is key. We're working with the most vulnerable people in society, and we need to make sure that they're protected and that and also respect for the farmer and the farmer's family and all that goes with it. And particularly with social media and everything else, people need to realise what does confidentiality mean. And that takes into the ownership of data. You know, this is sensitive information, and it's information that we need to make sure that is protected. And that obviously the freedom of information is something, these are the legislative things that we have in Northern Ireland, and human rights underpin everything we do. The monitoring and liaison, we need to know what the activity is on the farm. So we do have monthly returns of what is the activity, how many people have gone. We pay the farmers for the quantity, what we have bought. If the people don't turn up, we will pay, because we believe that we need to make sure that that's a contract that we have drawn up. So the farmers know that for the 48 weeks they will get that payment. But we need to monitor that it is actually happening, that people are turning up. If there are issues, then we need to pick up on those. And we're very fortunate that we really haven't had issues with it, but we have good communication. Aoibhinn has always ensured that the farmers are supported from the point of view of the social care farming. And if there are issues as well, if farmers don't feel that they can raise them, or concerns, or just a niggle, she will advocate on behalf of the farmers. Equally, we would have quarterly meetings with the farmers collectively, and farmers can sort of make contact and talk to us individually about their potential developments or ideas they may have. But it's making sure that there's a two-way communication, because that's very, very important. So on the receipt of the monthly monitoring, the invoices are paid. And we have been fortunate that we haven't had to address unsatisfactory performance, but if something did happen, the contract is there to deliver on it. And there is a clause as well for the termination of the contract. So I think we do have our bases covered. It seems to be working, but we have formalised social care farming from the point of view of the trust. But it gives sustainability to the service. It gives us evidence that it's working, and I do believe it does work. As people have said this morning, social inclusion, it is non-stigmatised. That is something that trust cannot provide. We cannot provide non-stigmatised care. Anything that we do always carries a tag of it comes from the trust. And I mean, our memory still takes us back to workhouses in Ireland. Social workers are always tagged with, oh, they're the people that remove children. There's always a stigma about anything that the trust provides. So social care farming is the one thing that we can say with confidence. It is in the person's community, provided by people who live in the community and actively integrate in the community, and they provide the opportunity for the person with disability to do that. It provides the active citizenship. It empowers the person as well. It provides working together and a model for others to follow. And the person themselves, as we've heard with the different farmers speaking this morning, it's that individual support. The person might like the chickens, can pick the eggs, might like the horse or something, and that's what farming does. There's a range of topics to choose. It pushes boundaries. I mean, a person mightn't be able to read, but if they see a pile of stones here and they know that that pile of stones have to be over there by the end of the day, they mightn't be able to read it on the page, but they get the satisfaction because they know a job's well done. It provides life skill training because, as everyone has said, that does happen on every interaction on the farm. And I think one of the biggest perks is the opportunity to contribute to society and the unconditional love that animals will give a human. They respond to kindness, and that's something that no price can be paid on, that the person feels valued by the farmer, valued by the animals they care for. So the Southern Trust is very much based on strength-based approach to care. And for us, the client who is at the centre, the care, social services and the community and voluntary sector. And it's a positive attitude to risk management that is at the heart of social care farming. As people said, we all burn ourselves, we all sort of can cut our hands or whatever, but we have to give people the dignity of trying something new and doing and living life as life's meant to be lived. So partnership working with the social care farmer encourages creativity and innovation with the client at the centre of the activity. And it teaches us in the Trust how to do things differently. And we all need, especially in a big organisation like the Southern Trust with 13,000 staff, we need to be taught how to do and how to sort of go beyond the boundaries. And that's what social care farming has done. It has done for me as a person, it has done for staff that I work with, and for the Trust as a whole. So that's my spiel on. If anyone wants a copy of contract or anything else, more than happy to share. And thank you for the invitation. Thank you.